5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Wednesday that finds the Jaguars back at the Miller Electric Center as preparations are underway for Week 2 against the Cincinnati Bengals. I was down in the Jaguar locker room earlier today. Had conversations with both Andrew Wingard and Bashell Tuten. You will hear both of those conversations coming up within the next 20 minutes or so here on Hacker After Dark. As, again, I noticed a confidence in the Jaguar locker room. Not a cockiness, not an arrogance. I just noticed a confidence with this football team. Very similar to last week, maybe even a little elevated because of what happened on Sunday. I will say this, though. Pretty much every player that I talked to was all about Cincinnati. They did not want to talk about Carolina very much at all. They have moved on. You got to move on in this league. Every week, it's try to go 1-0, right? We always talk about that as a mindset. Well, the Jaguars were kind of living that today. I think you'll hear some of that in Dewey's answers, a couple of them that he gave me. But nevertheless, again, a big game for Jacksonville. Is it a prove-it game for the Jacksonville Jaguars against one of the better AFC teams in the Cincinnati Bengals? So we will certainly spend a ton of time on that. Again, Andrew Wingard and Bashell Tuten will both join me from the Jaguar locker room. Brian Sexton will stop by, Jaguars.com. Always enjoy talking ball with Brian as we will review Carolina and, of course, preview Cincinnati. And my buddy Leon Searcy, the former Pro Bowler of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You get him every day on primetime. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. And, of course, Leon will be with me and the coach Gerald Ingram on Sunday, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Bengals go final for the fifth quarter. So it will be a ton of NFL, a ton of Jaguars tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Every night on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So going into the Jaguar locker room earlier today, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how the guys would be feeling after, week one. There was obviously a lot of good. And first and foremost, you came out with the victory, which is the most important thing. But I remember talking to you last Wednesday leading into Carolina. And a week ago tonight, I remember saying that I sensed a confidence about this football team. No arrogance or cockiness. I wouldn't describe it as that. But I would describe it as a confidence. I noticed it again today. I think this team believes they're pretty good. And I think based on what we saw Sunday, I don't know how you can dispute that. You realize that the 16-point victory over Carolina was the second biggest margin of victory opening weekend for the Jaguars dating back to 2001. The only other time in week one they had a larger margin of victory for a season opener was in 2017. The Saxonville team when they destroyed Houston 29-7. By the way, this game against Carolina should have been 30-3 with the Dewey Wingard pick, and I'll talk to Dewey about that here in a little bit. One thing I think that's interesting that I'm noticing too, me and Denmark and Baloo and everybody on 1010XL, you the fans, right, that have lived and died with this team and been through the mainly horrific times for the last 15 plus years. We have memories of how awful it's been to cover or support the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's not sugarcoat it. It has been largely very, very disappointing and disgruntling to cover or support the Jaguars for a majority of the last decade and a half. But guys in that locker room are new. They don't know. I mean, what do they care what happened when Mike Mularkey was here? Or when Gus Bradley was here? Or when Doug Marrone or Urban Meyer were here? Or in a large instance, when Doug Peterson was here. Again, you got 25 roughly new guys on this year's roster. And I got that vibe when I was talking to Hunter Long today. And we're going to play you that conversation tomorrow night. And it wasn't just Hunter Long, but it was one of his comments that stood out to me. You know, I asked him, give you a little teaser for tomorrow. I asked him if this was a barometer game, you know, if this was a game against Cincinnati that would kind of tell you where you are 2 weeks into the year, playing one of the better teams in the AFC. And Hunter Long basically said, look, I love the 11 guys we got. I'm going to take our 11 any day of the week. We go in there, if we do our thing, we're going to be all right. Love that mindset. Hunter Long doesn't know about how awful the Jaguars were in 2012 or 2013 or 2020 or 2021, nor does he probably care. And there's a lot of guys in that boat, a lot of new Jaguars. I mean, think about the production the Jaguars got on opening day. Travis Hunter, first year as a Jaguar. Brian Thomas Jr., second year as a Jaguar. Hunter Long caught a touchdown his first year. Jordan Lewis, a fumble recovery and an interception. It's his first year, right? You can go on down the line with guys that have been here, 1 or 2 years, a very short amount of time. They don't care what happened here 5, 10, 15 years ago. You, the fans, do. We, the media, do, because we had to live through it. A lot of these guys don't. They're freshly in here. This is a new regime, a new staff. They don't have the residue of all the awfulness of the last 15-plus years. And they're ready to go play Cincinnati. Who says they can't go beat Cincinnati? What, because of the logo on their helmet? Because of the teal and white and black uniform combo that the Jaguars have had? Because those jerseys and those helmets have gotten so many beatings from good AFC teams? That doesn't mean this year's team can go over there and win. Look, here's what I'm telling you. I don't know if I'm going to pick Jacksonville to win. I'll do that tomorrow. But I'm thinking about it. Jacksonville can run the football. Jacksonville can protect Trevor Lawrence. At least they did last week. And if Jacksonville goes out there and plays any resemblance against Cincinnati, how they played against Carolina, they absolutely could win this game. Absolutely. Question is, was last week a one-shot wonder, or is this who the Jaguars are? I remember last year the Commanders were the big team, right? The big team that made the huge run from picking number 2 in the draft to making the playoffs. But how many weeks went by until people started buying into the Washington Commanders? It was a while, right? People didn't believe it at first. I think Prosser said it on Monday during the drill, and I don't want to steal his thought. I believe it was Prosser, and I thought it was great. The Carolina game was a family and friends game for the Jaguars. Family enjoyed it. Your friends enjoyed it. The Jaguar fan base enjoyed it. If you go out there and you beat Cincinnati on Sunday, that will be an attention grabber. That will be a moment nationally when people look at that and go, ooh, all right. That is the opportunity the Jacksonville Jaguars have on Sunday at 1 o'clock against the Cincinnati Bengals. A game, of course, you will hear right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Before we play these conversations that I had in the Jaguar locker room today, again, Andrew Wingard and Bashell Tuten, my one-on-ones with them are coming up in less than 10 minutes. Again, I want to reiterate something. I don't know if Jacksonville is going to go beat Cincinnati. I haven't made my mind up yet. I don't know if Jacksonville's good enough to go to the playoffs this year. I don't know if Jacksonville's good enough to win the AFC South this year. And I would tend to doubt it that Jacksonville's good enough to go to the Super Bowl this year. But what I will tell you is going into that locker room now 2 weeks in a row, there is a confidence in there that has not been in there since at least the middle part of 2023. Maybe even before that. I think this Jaguar team believes they're pretty good. And again, based on what we saw against Carolina, it's kind of hard to dispute that, right? They wiped Carolina's face in the mud on Sunday afternoon. And if, again, let me reiterate, if they go to Cincinnati and they beat the Bengals, well, then, ladies and gentlemen, we may have something. And I don't want any moral victories. I don't want the Jaguars to go up there and lose by a touchdown. Trust me, they're not going to feel good about that. And I don't think we should either. This is a win-loss league. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, I can tell you in conversations I had today, they are expecting to go to Cincinnati and they are expecting to win the football game. That is the expectation that Liam Cohen and James Gladstone and Tony Baselli and those players have on Sunday afternoon in Cincinnati, Ohio. Whether it happens or not, we'll obviously have to wait and see. But there were a lot of games, particularly over the last year and a half, where I've been in that locker room getting ready for games, where you could sense there wasn't a lot of optimism among the players about winning. There is an expectation about winning this game on Sunday. And you want to talk about a revamped culture? It is noticeable to me just how different and how much more confident that locker room is now compared to where it was just 8 short months ago. It's a battle of the quarterbacks, man. Joe Burrow on one side, Trevor Lawrence on the other. You got Jamar Chase, you got Brian Thomas Jr., T. Higgins, Travis Hunter. Should be fun. Again, Jaguars-Bengals Sunday. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL. Coming up next, let's go inside the Jaguar locker room. Bashell Tuten. Boy, his role is advanced now with the trading of Tank Bigsby. I also talked with Dewey Wingard. Dewey always brings his thoughts, his perspective. Probably my favorite guy to talk to in that locker room, quite honestly. You will hear both of those conversations next on a Wednesday night here in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us right here. It's Hacker After Dark.
Bone crunching, field flipping, game-changing plays. After the game, catch the superior fence and rail defensive player of the game on 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here for the best weight loss program I've ever been on. My coach, Kate, I met with weekly when I was on the program. I now meet with her still monthly now that I'm in the maintenance portion of the program. The guidance she gives me, the expectations that she sets on me, and quite frankly, the information that she provides me. It was life-changing. The coaching you get with Awaken 180 was unlike any coaching I got with any other weight loss program. And I believe me, and you guys know this, I tried a bunch of them over the years. Nothing worked. Awaken 180 worked wonders. Lost over 100 pounds. Guys, if it's time for you to lose weight like it was for me, I can't possibly recommend them enough. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800. Change your life with Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Get down to the bank Sunday, September 21st, as your Jaguars face off with division rivals, the Houston Texans. Celebrate Hispanic heritage and witness history as the Jaguars take the field for the first time this season in the legendary Prowler throwback jerseys. Lock in your seats now for a 1 p.m. kick by visiting Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you at Everbank Stadium.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is now available at the Fresh Market Spirits and Wine. The Fresh Market Spirits and Wine is a new adult beverage store offering spirits, wine, beer, and accessories at A1A North in Ponte Vedra, a first-of-its-kind destination for thoughtfully curated spirits, wine, and beer as only the Fresh Market can. And now, you can get Brackish Vodka at the Fresh Market. Brackish Vodka, for whatever your sport is. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage, watching your hard-earned money vanish every month? Stop right now. At Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars a month. Lock in at a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases. And here's the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no-obligation quote. Loan Pronto is amazing. So start now by calling 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. 999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS, consumeraccess.org.
If you've been in a big truck accident, you need a lawyer that specializes in big trucks. A lawyer who knows all the federal traffic rules that can affect your case.
And who can navigate the complex web of laws dealing with the trucking company, the leasing company, the shipper, and all the other details that can complicate your case.
At Farah & Farah, we've seen it all, and we're ready to go the long haul to fight for you. Jacksonville.
Join me, Max Fink, as I keep a close eye on everything that happens in Gator Nation.
The Gator Report, polished up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators! Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us. My conversations with Andrew Wingard and Bashell Tuten coming up in just a moment. Injury reports are out for both the Jaguars and the Bengals. I know we're only 1 week into the regular season, but these are 2 really healthy football teams coming into week 2. Now, Cincinnati did put one of their offensive guards on IR, Lucas Patrick, so they are going to be without him for the next 4 weeks. But I believe Dalton Reisner is who they signed, who's got a lot of starting experience. He came in last week for Patrick, and based on what I saw and people I've talked to in Cincy, he did a pretty good job. So outside of Patrick, they're pretty healthy. The Jaguars, look, I mean, Anton Harrison, there was some question about him. Liam Cohen mentioned some back spasms. He appears to be okay. Monteric Brown participated, limited participation, but still got out there a little bit in practice today. Cole Van Lanen looks like he's on the right track. Still Wyatt Milum, no, because he did not practice today. But by and large, going into week 2, the Jaguars, again, knock on wood, are pretty healthy, all things considering, and we'll see what happens. Again, Jaguars and the Bengals on Sunday. I was down in the Jaguar locker room earlier today. You will hear my conversation with Jaguar rookie running back Bashell Tuten coming up in one moment. First, let's talk to Dewey. Andrew Wingard was one of the best defensive players out there on Sunday. Should have had a pick 6. Again, whether it was defensive holding, I still question that call. It literally had nothing to do with Wingard's interception. I asked Dewey about that. Dewey's been through a lot of opening days here in Jacksonville. Not many of them looked like that on Sunday. Here is my Jaguar one-on-one from the Jaguar locker room with safety Andrew Dewey Wingard.
by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors takes you in the locker room.
In the Jaguar locker room, we got Andrew Wingard with us here on 1010XL as the Jaguars getting ready for the Cincinnati Bengals. And Dewey, how'd it go other day of practice?
It was good. It was a good energy out there. Good start, going 1-0, and got to dial in. It doesn't mean anything, and we're on to Cincinnati, in the words of Bill Belichick.
You've been through a lot of opening days here in Jacksonville. That was a good one on Sunday. Yeah. I mean, what was your thought, a couple of days after the game?
Like I said, we won the game, but we're on to the next. And I don't need to say anything about the team we played, but we play the Cincinnati Bengals this week. So this is going to be a great game, and you can't think you've earned anything because you won one game. So we got to get back to our fundamentals and stay dialed and keep that edge to us. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing this week.
They always say turnovers come in bunches, from 9 in 2024 to 3 on opening day 2025. And should have been 4, by the way.
Yeah.
What was working so well for you guys, and how can you carry that on to Cincinnati?
Yeah, we just executed. I mean, that first play with Eric, we repped that in practice many times, and then boom, it just happens like that. Perfect, work of art. So that was great. And then the beautiful, complimentary football. The offense scores twice off of Eric's or Foyer's pick and Foyer's, punch out there at the end of the half. So that was fantastic. And then I think that was it. And then just playing staunch against the run. I know they had a couple. They got over 100, but one of them was on a quarterback 30-yard scramble. So I think we did that really well, and that was one of our keys to the game. So it was a good start.
One of the big talking points on my show this week, everybody's looking for the 24 or 25-year-olds. You look here in Jacksonville, Foye, Armstead. You look at what Jordan Lewis did, Eric Murray, the veterans on this team on the defense, all made huge plays. How important was that to get off to that sort of start with all the newness in this locker room?
Yeah, it was big. And again, you make your first shot, it's good to see one go in the hole, and that just builds momentum. Momentum's powerful. So that was huge. And a lot of the things we preached, the intangible things, the tackling, the toughness, the physicality, running to the football, that all showed up. And when things show up that coaches preach and guys see it, it's they're right. So that was huge. And we did all those things, and I think it'll build and carry forward, just not even X's and O's, just culture. And so that was one of the big things. And we got vets, but we got guys who are like I even have said in past interviews this year, I feel like a rookie, and it just feels like that. Guys still, it's not I'm getting to the end of my days. No, it's all these vets are screw that, I'm still here. So that's kind of the energy.
Final moments with Dewey Wingard. Cincinnati on Sunday. Obviously, that means Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Talk about the challenge that represents.
Yeah, great challenge, great team, great pedigree. They almost won a Super Bowl. They've played with each other for 5-6 years now. It's a great team, but we got really good players too. So that's going to be the fun part. And it could be I don't know the word. It could be a visual down the road into maybe an AFC playoff picture. So it's going to be a great game. We're super excited, especially going on the road, and a great challenge.
Finally, a lot of fans are calling this a measuring stick game, kind of see where the Jaguars are against one of the better teams in the AFC. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I don't like to look at it that way, because whether you win or you lose, you're still going to advance, and it doesn't mean, you lose and you're not there. So I don't really buy that, but again, it's always good to play great teams, and it's going to be a fun one. And again, you play a Joe Burrow, who's going to be a 20-year, 15-year guy, great quarterback. It's that's how you measure it up. So I like to think of it in, that sense. And then a great challenge for the back end against, T. Higgins and Jamar. So it's going to be super fun.
Of course, you'll hear it right here on 1010XL, Jacksonville and Cincinnati. Dewey, appreciate it, man.
Thank you, sir.
There you go. Andrew Dewey Wingard with us here on Hacker After Dark. Appreciate him taking time out today in the Jaguar locker room. And again, that goes to the confidence, right? I mean, Dewey's sitting there saying, hey, who knows? Us in Cincinnati, this could be a preview of something down the road. And I love that, because I'll tell you, and you guys know this, I mean, fans, watching that team in December and January last year, it was bad. It was bad. The vibes were bad all the way around. I mean, you want to talk about playing out the stretch. That is what the Jacksonville Jaguars were doing last season. And in such a quick amount of time, one regular season game since all that nonsense in late December and January last year. And you got guys in there saying, yeah, we're not scared of this team. Let's go. It's a great challenge. Who knows what could happen down the road? It's not a measuring stick game. We're going to play. We're going to see what happens. We're going to move on. I don't even want to talk about Carolina. You could tell Dewey, I followed up with another Carolina question. He didn't even want to talk about it. He's like, that game's over. I'm not even going to talk about him. I want to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. I love that mindset. And again, I think that is a credit to Liam Cohen and that coaching staff and James Gladstone and Tony Baselli. You know, we always talk about a different feel. And sometimes we've been guilty of that in the media. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes look, it can't feel different every year because every year here it's been the same thing. The team has been awful for an overwhelming majority of the last 15 years. And you know, people were sold a bill of goods. Oh, it just feels different. I'm telling you, it's a different mindset. Well, no. Bad is bad. And the Jaguars were bad for a long, long time. But, and I don't ever do this, ever. It does feel different this year. And we'll see what happens on Sunday. You know, Jacksonville could go out there and lose 37-10. And we're having a much different conversation right now, or on Monday, than we are right now. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Jacksonville's going to go up there. They're going to put forth a good showing. Now, will they win the game? Again, this is a 4-win football team last year. It's unrealistic to think Jacksonville is going to go from 4-13 to 13-4. It's unrealistic. But I got to tell you guys something. Rewind the clock back last week. Who on earth last Wednesday gave Jacksonville a puncher's chance going to Cincinnati in week 2? Not many. I probably didn't, quite frankly. But then you see them absolutely destroy Carolina. Again, Hacker, it's a bad Carolina team. I'll remind you, like I did last night. It's a Carolina team that won more games than you did last year. Carolina had a better record than the Jacksonville Jaguars did last year. And Jacksonville wiped their face in the mud. I'm fascinated to see what happens. I think it is a measuring stick game. I know Jacksonville, the players don't care about that. They want to go win. They don't care who it is. They're going to be mad if they lose. Me personally, I'm fascinated to see how the Jaguars, in such an early part of Liam Cohen and James Gladstone's tenure, how they're going to match up with a team the caliber of the Cincinnati Bengals. It's been an interesting couple of weeks for Bashell Tuten, the 4th-round running back out of Virginia Tech. Boy, the trading of Tank Bigsby has certainly opened the door for him. He is now clearly running back 2 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. LaQuint Allen Jr. also going to get a heavy workload. They're both still behind ETN, but they are going to be vital parts of this offense with no more Tank Bigsby in the building. Earlier today at the Miller Electric Center, I caught up with Jaguar rookie tailback Bashell Tuten. In the Jaguar locker room, Jaguars getting ready for Cincinnati. We got Jaguar running back Bashell Tuten with us here on 1010XO. Bashell, how'd it go out there today?
Went pretty well. I think practice went pretty good overall. So I was really pleased with how practice went today, so we just got to build on from it.
You and I spoke last week. You now have one game under your belt. How do you think your NFL debut went on Sunday?
I think it went pretty good. I got a couple reps, got in, did what I had to do. Just showed a little glimpse of, who I am and how I can play. So just building blocks from there, just continue to work.
Obviously, Tank Bigsby gets traded on Monday. That is a sign, I would imagine, to you and both LaQuint Allen Jr. that your roles will expand. What did that mean to you when the organization traded Tank and you guys are the next man up?
It just goes to show me how, how the NFL is, next man up mentality is real here. So, one day I go in, game 1, I'm RB3, I got, a couple reps, but, this game I'm coming in and, getting more reps. So, just got to, stay prepared and get myself ready to, go out there and ball out.
What was that experience like to see Travis Etienne go for $143 in the opener?
It was great. The guy works hard, every day at practice. We all do. But to go out there and, see him ball like that and, get back to who he is was definitely pleasing because I know how hard he works.
You got a home game under your belt. Now you hit the road. Cincinnati's home opener on Sunday. How excited are you to go up there and play the Bengals?
I'm very excited. I'm new to this NFL thing, so every game right now is, I'm just very pleased with, looking forward to. So just another game, go out there and, and show who we are, and I'm excited for that.
Still a little early in the week, but what have you seen from Cincinnati on film?
We saw a couple of things that we, got cooking up for the game plan. So we just got to come out, practice. Coaches are doing their thing, with the game plan and things like that. We just got to go out there and execute.
Bashell, best of luck on Sunday. We'll be watching.
Thank you.
There you go, Bashell Tuten in the Jaguar locker room. Appreciate him taking time out for us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. And yeah, with no more Tank Bigsby, you got ETN and you got the 2 rookies, right? And the Jaguars did add Cody Schrader. from the Rams practice squad. Obviously, Gladstone's familiar with him from his time in Los Angeles. But it'll be very interesting to see what happens on Sunday when you divvy up the carries that Bigsby would have normally gotten. How many go to Tuten? How many go to LaQuint Allen Jr.? And then Travis Etienne. He was a very popular man in the Jaguar locker room today. It's funny how things can change very quickly. You know, look, there's a lot of people, a lot of you guys probably listening tonight, myself included, quite frankly, that legitimately wondered in July what Etienne's future was going to be this season. And now all of a sudden, he's a second leading rusher in the NFL. They just trade Tank Bigsby, and he is the man at the running back position. Can he follow that up against Cincinnati on Sunday up there for the Bengals home opener? So much more Jaguar conversation to come. Again, later on, or actually tomorrow night, you will hear one-on-one conversations with both Hunter Long and Ezra Cleveland, as I caught up with those guys as well in the Jaguar locker room earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center. Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. You also hear him on the Jaguars radio network with the post-game coverage. I think he, JP, and Dempsey do a terrific job on the post-game leading into the fifth quarter every Sunday. We'll have Brian up here. Let's talk Carolina. Let's preview Cincinnati. Let's talk about the Tank Bigsby trade and all points in between. My buddy Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, next, right here on Hacker After Dark.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, Jason, thanks for coming over so quick.
Sure thing, pal. What's the big... Whoa!
See, I told you there was a smell.
Yeah, it smells like...
Exactly, or a dead one more like it.
You need some fresh air in here.
Well, this is the problem, Jason. I've kept everything sealed up tight all summer long so I don't lose all my nice cool air. Now all the dog smells and cooking smells and home gymnasium man cave smells are all building up and I can barely...
Dude, where are the Bueller sunglasses I gave you?
Oh, I don't know. They must be in my other...
Put on my emergency pair.
Whoa.
Bueller Air and Plumbing can install an air purification add-on to your existing air conditioner. Clean the air of dust and pollen and funky smells while you cool.
So I can keep all the cool air I saved up?
And your place won't smell like a dead...
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T here, and I know that getting into an accident is stressful, but getting the proper care doesn't have to be. That's why I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. Even if you're at fault, your insurance covers you. And remember, you have the right to choose your own doctor. Even a minor accident can cause whiplash for years if it goes untreated. So don't wait. Call the auto accident experts at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Your recovery starts today.
For the first time ever, Beards Diamonds brings you names like Rolex, Cartier, Van Cleef, and Tiffany. Mark your calendars, September 18th through the 21st, a 4-day premium estate jewelry event. Spectacular buying opportunity, your chance to own the world's premium brands. You know when Beards has a sale, it's the real deal. And this one's extraordinary because of these amazing brands like Rolex. Are you ready to own the Rolex of your dreams? Beards buyers have scoured the country, handpicking high-quality pre-owned Rolex watches. All the hard-to-find models, submariners, Datejust, Sky Dwellers, Yacht Masters, over 100 pristine Rolex timepieces to choose from. Plus, Beard showcases are packed with Tiffany rings, Cartier necklaces, Van Cleef pendants. And for this special event, Beards is selling loose diamonds at unheard of prices from 1 carat to 10. Don't miss this unprecedented event. The finest names. It's Thursday through Sunday, September 18th through the 21st. Plan to come early. Beards Diamonds, not another corporate chain store. Your locally owned jeweler, Beards at the St. John's Town Center.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the Southeast to offer multi-unit hair grafting and the 45-minute PRP treatments. Grow your hair back. Call now for a free in-person evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. 904-777-4477 or visit hairforme.com.
Hear the Florida Gators all season on 1010XL. Unlocked by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. The law firm of Farah and Farah and Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville. Go Gators! 1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Bengals, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Jacksonville comes in at 1-0 after a dominating victory last week over the Carolina Panthers. Let's review Carolina. Let's certainly preview Cincinnati. Also, the Tank Bigsby trade, one of the big stories that happened already this week. And let's talk about all of it with Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. Always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Of course, you also hear Brian on Jaguars Radio as well. Brian, how we doing, man?
Good, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, Brian, we're good. Thank you for the time. I enjoyed you, JP, and Mike on the postgame show prior to us coming on for the fifth quarter. It was a nice change from what we had here the last couple of years. What a dominating performance on Sunday in that win over Carolina.
Now, you know what's so encouraging about that win was that it could have been so much more. You know, the offense was so productive on the ground, but not as productive as it could have been. When you go back and watch the film and you see where receivers are missed or opportunities are missed, this offense really could have had a big day. I mean, listen, it did well enough to win, and winning is the goal. So you don't want to overlook that. But I was watching some of the tape yesterday with Jeff Lageman, who I know is on 1010 and has talked about this. When you see some of the opportunities that were missed, you think, man, you hate to see those things get by you. So it was good, and the potential is there for it to be much better.
Yeah, I agree. They left an awful lot out there. Let's first and foremost begin with your thoughts on the performance of Trevor Lawrence.
Good. He was good. You know, it's his first game in a new offense, and I thought in the first half especially, he stood strong in the pocket, waited patiently, made some throws. In the second half, you know, he missed BTJ, as everyone saw. He missed Travis Hunter. He missed Johnny Munt on a wide open play. He threw it underneath to Travis Hunter for one of his 6 catches, and Munt was wide open. Now, listen, I mean, those things happen to every quarterback every game. He's the quarterback here, so we're talking about him. It was a good beginning. If he hits 2 or 3 more of those plays, you may be talking about a guy who's thrown for 250 yards and a few touchdowns and a passer rating over 100, and we're going, whoa. Look what this guy has done in just his first game. But that's what this whole thing is about. And I think if you go back and look at Baker Mayfield, you'll see it was about week 4, week 5 that things really ignited for him last year in Tampa. So the curve is upward, and you hope to see him settle in a little bit and start to take advantage of all of the answers. We've heard him talk about how this offense affords a quarterback answers in every situation. We'll hope to see him take that step and play closer to his potential.
Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Brian, the offensive line was as dominant in that game as I've seen them at least since 2022. 200 rushing yards. Trevor Lawrence, for the most part, pretty clean, did not get sacked, only got hit just a handful of times. What a performance in game 1 by the Big O-line.
You know, I had a conversation with Tony Bashell yesterday morning, and the thing that he talked about was the people they brought in. You know, when they went into free agency, it wasn't a typical Jaguars expenditure, right, where you're just writing big checks and bringing in big names. They went and signed a couple of guys for the offensive line that other people weren't familiar with. Chuma Edoga, right? People may have known the name Patrick McCarry because he played for a high-profile team, but he was still a guard, right? That didn't light anybody's fire. And then, of course, nobody really knew Robert Hainsey unless they had seen the Buccaneers in 2023. So not big name, high profile, splashy free agents, yet those 3 guys made a huge difference in the offensive line and the effectiveness of the offensive line. Not only did they create space for the running game to improve, I mean, really improve, but they also kept the quarterback on his feet. I mean, it was his fault that he got touched at all because he didn't get rid of the ball quicker. on the intentional grounding play. So the offensive line played a great football game. And, we've been talking about it on Jags AM for 2 years. This team had been highly ineffective at converting on 3rd down and 3 yards or less. And when you can't do that, you put yourself in a position to punt more often than not. And when you're doing that, well, then your quarterback is never going to get into any sort of a rhythm. You're never going to get past page 2 or 3 of the playbook, and you're always going to be playing from behind. So for this offensive line to come out on opening day and to play as efficiently and as physically and as smart as they played is a really good sign, because we're just talking about Trevor Lawrence getting better. The offensive line's going to get better. They're going to have to get better.
I don't want to jump too far ahead of the story here. It's one game, so you take that for what it is. But in that one game, Brian, we spend so much time on Trevor and BTJ and Travis Hunter. Boy, Brenton Strange might have been the best offensive player on the field, not named Travis Etienne, on Sunday. He was absolutely fantastic.
Do you remember when people were disappointed in him in 2023, the second-round pick, didn't make much of an impact? And he is the perfect reminder to people that not every rookie, even a second-round pick, comes in ready to play. The system might not be right. The timing might not be right. He may not be ready to play. He looks to me like one of the more complete tight ends in the game. And I've heard his name talked about in terms of being a Kittle kind of player, which is really high praise. But when you block like that, you have guys who have their head on a swivel now. They're looking for 85. The defensive ends, the outside linebackers, and the blitzing safeties, all of whom got hit by him in the Panthers game, will all be looking at the tape and will all be looking, where is 85? When you've got that kind of a player on the line of scrimmage, that just opens things up. It makes defensive coordinators look twice and worry about him. Well, they're already worried about 7. 12 is a guy that they've got to account for. Number 1 is somebody all of a sudden that everyone's got their eyes on. Now 85. The more options that you have, the more ways that you can create angst in a defensive coordinator, the better off you are. And I'm telling you what, 85 is going to do what he did to Trayvon Moehrig more often than not.
A couple of more for Brian Sexton of Jaguars.com. Brian, the fan base always talks about bringing in the young guys, the 25, 26-year-old free agents on their second contract. And while I agree with that for the most part, it is good to bring in some veterans every once in a while, and that evidence was clear on Sunday. You look on that defense, whether it was Jordan Lewis, Eric Murray, DeJuan Smoot, Austin Johnson, or the guys that were here last season, the Foyers, the Wingards, the Armsteads, the veteran guys on defense were outstanding on Sunday.
Listen, I want to draft my high-dollar free agents. In other words, I want to pay my own guys. And then I want to go and find guys like Jordan Lewis who can come in and play for me for a year or two and really dramatically transform the mindset of my secondary. And I say that because that's what he's done. I mean, listen, this group limped into the offseason. Week after week last year, it was big play down the field in the fourth quarter that killed the Jaguars defense. And we know the guilty parties, right? We know the safety. We know the corners that weren't playing very well. And so they were really, it was the worst statistical defensive performance in Jaguars history. And so by all rights, they could be moping a little bit in the offseason. But Jordan Lewis came in and changed that. His posture, for lack of a better word, was infectious. And bring in Eric Murray as well. And those two guys came in and lifted this group. And Jordan told me last week that the talent was there. You could see there was talent, but there wasn't the sense that they were ready to go amongst themselves. And old-timers will remember that was what Keenan McCardell said. That was what Jimmy Smith said in 1996. Andre Rison came in and took a young wide receiver core that wasn't quite ready to play. And he gave them, in the time that he was here before he got cut in November, he gave them a sense of what it took to play at this level and what they needed to play like and what their attitude had to be, so that when they cut him, Jimmy and Keenan took off. And we know the next 6 years, they were as good a wide receiver tandem as you would find in the National Football League. Well, I think Jordan Lewis, he's a lot easier to deal with than Andre Rison, and he's not going anywhere. But Jordan Lewis has done the exact same thing that Andre Rison did all those years ago. He has planted the flag, he has set the standard, and he has told this secondary the way they're going to play, and they played pretty well.
Brian, I want to end with your thoughts on Cincinnati on Sunday. Before we get there, obviously the big story this week, the trade of Tank Bigsby. We heard from Liam Cohen earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center, kind of lay out why they made the decision that they made. Obviously, ETN was fantastic. They want to see more of those two rookies. But what was your overall take on Bigsby being traded to Philadelphia?
Well, you got to give a tip of the hat to Ryan O'Halloran, who wrote back in mid-August that it made sense. No team wants to have 4 running backs on their roster on game day. It means that somewhere else you have to be depleted. So you only want 3, but you got 4 guys that you like. Hopefully someone else likes Tank Bigsby. And he made the most sense because he has 2 years remaining on his contract that are very affordable, and he's a productive player. ETN had the best camp of any running back. It was clear that the job was his to lose, and he made it clear on Sunday he is in no shape to lose it. He is going to hold on to it, and rightfully so. He's on the 5th-year option. He's going to be playing somewhere else next year by all accounts because the Jaguars drafted those 2 guys, right? That's their future. So ETN sees the writing on the wall. He wants to get the big payday, so he's going to go ball out all year long. And there just wasn't a spot for Tank. And his body language on Sunday, people are trying to interpret that and say that he was pouting, and maybe he was. I didn't talk to him, so I don't know. He's going to go into Philly, right, be behind Saquon Barkley. He's not going to get a whole lot of carries up there either. But it made sense for the Jaguars. They could add to their draft cash next year. I think they've got 13 picks. I know they've got 3 third-rounders. I think now they have 3 fifth-rounders. All of those are value picks. And so it made a lot of sense that the Jaguars could move on from a position that they were heavy with a player who had attractiveness to another team and value back to them.
Final moments, Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. All right, Brian, Sunday at 1 o'clock, the Jaguars and the Bengals. It'll be Cincinnati's home opener. I think it's a measuring stick game. And look, here's what I'll say, too, and I'm sure you've heard the narrative from some skeptical Jaguar fans about, well, Carolina was not very good. Yeah, Carolina won more games than the Jaguars did last year, and Carolina had a second-year coaching staff, whereas Jacksonville was debuting a large portion of their coaching staff. So I thought last week was a good barometer showing how much the Jaguars had improved, beating a team that was better than them in 2024. And now this will be another uptick, as obviously Cincinnati is a different animal than Carolina.
Yeah, we all know the challenge. Joe Burrow is as good a quarterback as you'll find in the AFC. They haven't been a playoff team the last couple of years, and so he has slid down the ladder away from Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson in terms of being those hot quarterbacks. But give me Joe Burrow. If I have to have anybody to build around, I'll take Joe Burrow. I think the guy is absolute money. And Jamar Chase is the best in the game, and T. Higgins is an incredibly difficult matchup. Chase Brown is an excellent running back. Listen, and Trey Hendrickson is a game wrecker on defense. But here's the thing. This coaching staff promised when they were assembled in the winter the way that they would play, a physical style. They'd run the ball. They delivered in their first game on what their promises were. I think Liam Cohen showed us the kind of play caller he is. I have a lot of confidence in this staff. Are the Bengals going to be the favorite? Absolutely. Can the Jaguars go up there and win? Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that we have to wipe out of our mindset here in North Florida is that the Jaguars are the underdog, that they're going to be the underdog every Sunday. Are they at the top of the league like some of these other teams, the best teams you can identify right now? No, but they're not at the bottom of the league either. And they fit somewhere in the middle based on the way that they played the other day. And based on what I saw that the quarterback could have done, he has the potential to play exponentially better football. And if he does, man, this team really can go some places. I'm going to tell you, I have a lot of confidence in this coaching staff based on last week. I give the Jaguars a good opportunity to go up there if they don't turn the ball over, if they don't give Joe Burrow extra possessions and win the ball game.
Yeah, I agree. I did not feel confident about the Cincinnati game a week ago. I feel a little more confident now based on the way I saw Jacksonville play last week against Carolina. Brian Sexton. Brian, what's coming up on Jaguars.com leading into week number 2?
Oh, man, you always hit me with that question, and I never know. Jags Wired is out. That airs tonight, which we're excited about the debut of that. Jags AM in the morning, Jags happy hour in the afternoon. Next time you have me on, I'm going to be more prepared to answer that question, Ryan.
Well, Jaguars.com always has great material, and we certainly appreciate Brian Sexton for joining us here on 1010XL. Brian, appreciate it as always. We'll talk soon, pal.
You got it.
The Florida Gators.
He made the catch.
It's a duel in Death Valley.
To the house. Touchdown. Gators.
Florida LSU, Saturday at 7:30 on Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football. 1010XL.
Expert Automotive on St. John's Bluff Road has some of the highest Google reviews in Jacks for a reason. Expert Auto never sells greed, only what you need. All makes and models are serviced at Expert Automotive. This month, get an alignment inspection for only $19.99. Expert Auto does major engine and transmission repair and simple maintenance. All services done at Expert Auto by our ASC certified training technicians. Call today, 374-3373, and ask about $50 off any service. Expert Automotive. We never sell greed, only what you need.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Former Jags middle linebacker Tom McManus brings up grit to the ladies of helmets and heels.
You do it as tough as it is possible to do.
Tommy, Lauren, and Taylor.
Backed by Greenlaw Group. Afternoons 2 to 4 on 1010XL.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group, 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by November 6th.
I know you love sports, so why not take that passion and make a difference in your community as a volunteer coach with the YMCA? Whether it's soccer, basketball, volleyball, or flag football, the Y is always looking for positive role models to help kids grow in both skills and character. Even if you've got no coaching experience, that's fine. We'll provide the training. Step up, give back, and be the coach that makes a difference. To volunteer, visit your local Y or fcymca.org.
Jacksonville, it's football season, and Duck Duck Rooter is proud to be on your home team. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, we tackle plumbing, septic, and air conditioning problems with championship-level service. Keep an eye out for our custom Jaguar wrap plumbing vans rolling around town. They're hard to miss and always ready for the next play at your home or business. With thousands of 5-star Google reviews and the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, trust Duck Duck Rooter to keep you in the game. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter, when you're stuck, call the Duck.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Dark on 1010XL.
Yeah, I think it's a start. This is it's never a finished product. Every week is a different week. It's a different challenge. We did our job Sunday. We got the win. We executed fairly well. Still a lot of things to clean up. Like we talked about penalties and getting ourselves in some bad situations. But as far as when we ran a play and we didn't have a penalty, we were pretty good. We executed pretty well, and we were on the same page. So I think it's a testament to our preparation, how the guys worked. We were ready to go for the game, but we got to do it again this week. It's a new challenge every single week. That's it's the challenge of the NFL is the consistency.
The thoughts of Jaguar quarterback Trevor Lawrence earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center. That cut courtesy of our friends over there at Jaguars.com. Speaking of Jaguars.com, again, thank you to my buddy Brian Sexton for joining me tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Yeah, the thing about the Carolina game, too, is when you think about it, the Jaguars did leave a lot of points out there. Trevor overthrew Brian Thomas Jr. a couple of times. I mean, they committed 11 penalties. How many of those penalties were critical in stopping drives? I mean, I don't know how often Carolina really stopped Jacksonville outside of the J.C. Horn interception, which was a heck of a play by a Pro Bowl, all-pro caliber cornerback. Outside of that one play, I mean, I don't know. I think Jacksonville can certainly improve on offense. There's no doubt about that. And yet, with that, they still ran for 200 yards. They still put up a lot of points on the scoreboard, 26 in total. And the Jaguars look to improve on that against a good Cincinnati team. A Cincinnati team, it's interesting. I was watching the Zach Taylor press conference earlier today. You could tell kind of the relief from him and that entire organization about winning last week against Cleveland. Cincinnati had been awful on opening days under Zach Taylor, and week 2 as well. I mean, Zach Taylor thinks so much of this game, trying to go 2-0. He was telling Bengal fans to get into the stadium 15 minutes early on Sunday. He wants that place loud for the coin toss, basically imploring Bengal fans to leave the parking lot and come in earlier than usual against Jacksonville, because, again, it has been a long, long time since Cincinnati has been 2-0. So the Bengals are looking at this as a big game. Plus, Joe Burrow didn't play particularly well. That's probably not going to happen 2 weeks in a row. So we're going to see. I mean, for Jacksonville on defense, the one thing you have to do is you have to get after Joe Burrow. Because if the Bengal offense is susceptible at any position, it is probably the offensive line. They have offensive line issues. They're great at quarterback, they're great at wide receiver, and they're pretty good at running back with Chase Brown. Their offensive line is average at best, and you got to put pressure on Burrow. And Liam Cohen has talked a lot about being resilient. You're not shutting out Cincinnati. You're not holding them to 10 points. Burrow's going to hit Jamar Chase for a 25-yard touchdown, or he's going to hit T. Higgins for a 37-yard score. How can this young Jaguar nucleus with so many new guys, how will they respond to that? Because in the past, Jacksonville has been, horrific about responding to things like that. You're going to have to respond on Sunday. There is no doubt about it. The question is, can the Jaguars do it? Well, we'll find out in a couple of days. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We will take you until 10 o'clock as we do every night here on Hacker After Dark. My buddy Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He joins us in the 9 o'clock hour. Also, Easton Freeze, A to Z Sports.com. Not only looking at Jacksonville, but looking around the rest of the AFC South. And in case you didn't know it, it is by far and away, early in the season, the best Saturday of college football in regards to the Southeastern Conference. 4 conference games, a couple of teams with big out-of-conference games. And can South Florida really do it 3 weeks in a row? They beat Boise. They beat the Gators. Can they beat the U? We'll talk about all of it next, right here on Hacker After Dark.
He flies under the radar.
You don't find this guy, he finds you.
Stealthy Hayes Carlin
Best thing I can do is point you in the direction of his competition.
takes you behind enemy lines. Activated by Pella Windows and Doors. on 1010XL.
Hey, it's Rick Ballou. I just upgraded my home with fantastic floors, and the experience was incredible. Rusty and the team brought the showroom to me with their at-home consultation. The whole process was simple, the installation was top-notch, and the results, absolutely fantastic. Take it from me. Don't wait. Visit fanfloors.com and schedule your at-home consultation today. Fantastic floors, where every step is fantastic.
Hey Jacksonville, this is Chip Davis, director of the Flounder Pounder Fishing Tournament. We are fast approaching our 16th annual tournament benefiting the Jacksonville School for Autism. With the help of our amazing community, we raised over $1.4 million the last 15 years. This year's tournament will be held at Palm Valley Outdoors on the Intercoastal Waterway. Captain's meeting is Thursday night, October 9th, and the tournament is Saturday, October 11th. I'm inviting you and your family to come out and enjoy our tournament festivities, raise some money, and support autism awareness. Special thanks to U.S. Army Recruitment Jacks for their support. Flounder Pounder for Autism 2025. See you there.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
Your family can enjoy a special day of fun with games, food, and live music while remembering the sacrifices of our nation's prisoners of war at the National POW MIA Recognition Day, September 20th. Learn more at POWMIAmemorial.org.
Shuffle up and deal for a cause. Let's go all in to help others out. Join the Hold'em for Life Poker Tournament coming up September 20th at Blessed Trinity Parish Hall. Every hand helps the Women's Help Center support expectant mothers and newborns.
The average cost associated with childhood cancer is a startling $833,000. This is Tom Coughlin, and September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Help the J Fund raise awareness to help our neighbors and community members tackling this devastating disease.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
Jacksonville, archery season is here, and nobody does archery like Green Acres Sporting Goods, home of the largest archery pro shop in Northeast Florida. Come test shoot the newest bows from Matthews, Hoyt, Raven, and all the top brands. And starting this month, take advantage of Florida's sales tax holiday on all Second Amendment related items, running now through the end of the year. You can find it all at greenacresporting.com.
Jacksonville is my hometown, and nobody knows roofing like me. I'm Ronnie, the owner of Brandon Roofing. We handle everything from repairs to full roof replacements, start to finish. We give honest quotes, use quality materials, and clean up like we were never there. We all look at Google reviews, so go ahead and check out ours. We're proud of all our 5-star ratings. I would say we treat you like family, but some people don't like theirs. Go to BrandonRoofing.com today to schedule your free roof quote.
License number CCC 1328006.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Dr. Kevin Kaplan, team physician for the Jaguars and proud member of Jacksonville's newest orthopedic dream team. At Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville, we brought together 10 board-certified fellowship-trained surgeons, each one a specialist in their field, all working together to deliver smarter, faster care with better results. From sports injuries to joint replacements, we've got the right player for every position. Visit osjax.com and meet your team. That's osjax.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Former Jaguar, Pro Bowl offensive tackle, my buddy Leon Searcy, joins me in about 10 minutes. To the world of college football. Really nice Saturday of college football in the Southeastern Conference. 4 conference games. You got Arkansas, Ole Miss. You got Vanderbilt, South Carolina. You got Georgia, Tennessee, and then, of course, you got Florida and LSU. You mix in a little Alabama, Wisconsin as well, South Florida, Miami, of course, outside the SEC. It's a good Saturday of college football. I think the biggest game clearly is Georgia and Tennessee. I don't know what to make of the Dogs yet because they really haven't played anybody. They've done what they're supposed to do. Tennessee, Denmark, I'll say this about Aguilar, the new quarterback. You know, when Nico upped and left in the middle of the night, 2 months ago, we were thinking, well, how's Tennessee going to respond to this? What is this going to mean for the Volunteers? Again, not the best competition. They did play Syracuse and put a 40-burger on them. I mean, from what it's been pretty impressive from Josh Heupel and the Tennessee offense. Clearly a different monster now with Georgia coming into Neyland. But then again, you got Gunnar Stockton going to play his first true road game, right, as a starter in front of 100,000 in Knoxville. What's your early thought on Tennessee, Georgia on Saturday?
Probably Georgia a little bit, but yeah, I have no idea how this game's going to go. You can't read too much into how good a quarterback is for Tennessee because Heupel makes every quarterback pretty good, at least to start the season. I feel like every year they put up 70 against a lot of teams, and then they play the conference games, and it's like, okay, now the season's actually started. So it'll be interesting, but I lean Georgia slightly just because of their lines of scrimmage, and I think Georgia's going to be a good team this year.
Really big game for Kalen DeBoer and Alabama as they host Wisconsin. This is a game Alabama needs to win, and they need to win pretty big, in my opinion. If Wisconsin were to go in there and win, which I don't think is going to happen, but if they were, DeBoer might not be the coach on Sunday. That's how angry the Crimson Tide faithful would be. I don't expect that to happen. Give me Alabama in that one. Arkansas, Ole Miss. I don't really know what to make of Arkansas. Again, they haven't really played anybody. Ole Miss went into Lexington and beat Kentucky. It wasn't pretty, but they did it. Ole Miss is obviously much more tested. I'll take the Rebels in that one. Vandy, South Carolina is an interesting one. South Carolina and Vandy have both beat up on Virginia Tech in the first 2 weeks of the year. Now they get ready to play each other. You know, I mentioned this last night. And we'll get the Florida LSU in a moment, if Billy Napier were to lose his job at some point in the near future, not saying that's going to happen, but if it does, everybody's going to want Lane Kiffin, Marcus Freeman, Dan Lanning. Absolutely. I said my first two calls would be Marcus Freeman and Dan Lanning. I know Frangie yesterday on his show was talking about the possibility of John Gruden. You know, I think of two guys maybe off the beaten path that I don't think would end up with the job, but I think they would be interesting hires. One is Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. Now, he doesn't have a very good win-loss record, but keep in mind he was at Vanderbilt. He got Vandy to 7-6 last year in a bowl game. He's got them 2-0 this year, including a 24-point win over Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. If they beat South Carolina, and I believe that game is in Columbia, Vandy will be ranked next week, and Vandy will be one of the biggest national stories in college football. If they go back-to-back road games, Virginia Tech, South Carolina, and come out with wins. Denmark, I'll tell you a guy that I didn't mention last night, and I'm curious your thoughts. Again, I don't know if he fits the culture at Florida. I'm just talking about a guy that I like. I like his demeanor. I like his attitude. I like his old school kind of moxie. Again, I don't know how he would recruit at Florida, but there's something about Brent Pry at Georgia Tech that I really like. Brent Pry at Georgia Tech, what he inherited at Georgia Tech was not a good situation, to say the least. And he's turned Georgia Tech around pretty quickly.
Virginia Tech.
I'm not Brent Pry. What am I talking about? Not Brent Pry.
Brent Key.
Brent Key. Right, the Georgia Tech coach. Yeah, no, all due respect to Brent Pry. Friend of the program, Brent Pry. Had him on when the Jaguars drafted Bashell Tuten. Good guy. No. Brent Key at Georgia Tech. There's something about Key that I really like. I like his attitude. I like his demeanor. They went into Colorado and won on national TV. Of course, he beat Florida State last year. Again, everybody, if Billy loses his job, is going to want Kiffin or Freeman or Lanning. And we'll see if it lands in one of those spots. But two guys that I would not hate are either Clark Lee at Vanderbilt or Brent Key at Georgia Tech.
You can continue talking about who the next coach is going to be. I will not talk about the next coach until he's fired, because he can go 6-6, 7-5, and I still won't have confidence that Scott Strickland's going to pull that trigger.
You can't. There's no way he lasts a 6-6. No way.
I don't think so, but Scott Strickland loves him, man.
Well, no, Scott Strickland loves him because he's almost tied to him a little bit. I mean, Strickland just got an extension, but if Billy loses his job, now Strickland went out and got Todd Golden, which is massive, massive check marks in Strickland's column, because Todd Golden has been a grand slam hire for the basketball program. So you got to give him credit there. But if Billy loses his job, there's going to be a lot of people asking about Scott Strickland's future. But again, I give Strickland a ton of credit for the Todd Golden hire. By the way, I think South Carolina is going to beat Vanderbilt. I'm just throwing it out there. If Clark Lee wins in Columbia, that'll certainly be something. Quickly, with Florida and LSU, isn't this a game that that Billy is going to just have them ready to play? This is so Billy Napier, right? You get embarrassed by South Florida. You got a guy spitting into the guy's face. It's a dumpster fire. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be the fourth quarter in Baton Rouge, and it's either going to be tied or Florida's going to have the ball down one possession with a chance to take the lead. I don't think they win the game. I think there's a turnover or an intentional grounding or something's going to happen that LSU is going to win the game late in the fourth quarter. But I don't think this is a blowout. I think Florida, talk about circle the wagons, whatever you want. I think they're going to play well. It's going to be very similar to Tennessee last year. Nobody gave Florida a chance in Neyland. Billy went in there, called a couple of head-scratching plays, but they were in the game, actually took it to overtime until they lost. I think it's going to be very similar. I think LSU is going to win, but I think it's going to be a very, very competitive game Saturday night in Baton Rouge. You'll hear that game on 1010XL. You'll also hear the Jaguars and the Bengals Sunday afternoon on 1010XL. Let's continue the Jaguar talk with my buddy Leon Searcy. You hear him every day on XL Primetime. You also get him weekly during the year here on Hacker After Dark. Let's preview Cincinnati. Let's talk about the Tank Bigsby trade. What did Leon Searcy think about the performance of the offensive line? It was a dominating performance, in my opinion. What did one of the best offensive linemen in Jaguar history think? Leon Searcy next, right here on Hacker After Dark.
Fourth down and 11, game on the line. 11 guys line up, but only one will end up the Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
And there he goes.
On 1010XL.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Join Jim Furyk and other legends of the PGA Tour for the Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K. October 3rd through 5th at Timuquana Country Club. Catch the new community concert series on the 17th hole after play, featuring country artists Low Cash and Love and Theft. Public parking is free with complimentary tournament access for military, courtesy of ViStar Credit Union. Get tickets now for the Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K, starting at just $25 at Ticketmaster.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. And he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoor Show.
With tips and stories.
Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Every Saturday morning, 7 to 10.
On 1010XL.
Get down to the bank Sunday, September 21st, as your Jaguars face off with division rivals, the Houston Texans. Celebrate Hispanic heritage and witness history as the Jaguars take the field for the first time this season in the legendary Prowler throwback jerseys. Lock in your seats now for a 1 p.m. kick by visiting Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you at Everbank Stadium.
For the first time ever, Beard's Diamonds brings you names like Rolex, Cartier, Van Cleef, and Tiffany. Mark your calendar, September 18th through 21st, 4-day premium estate jewelry event. This is a spectacular buying opportunity. Your chance to own the world's premium brands. Ready to own the Rolex of your dreams? Beard's buyers have scoured the country, handpicking high-quality pre-owned Rolex watches. All the hard-to-find models. Submariners, Datejust, Skydwellers, Yachtmasters. Over 100 pristine Rolex timepieces to choose from at exceptional value prices. Plus, showcases filled with Tiffany rings, Cartier necklaces, Van Cleef pendants, exquisite rare gemstone pieces, the finest estate jewelry in the world at prices you never thought possible. And for this special event, Beards is selling loose diamonds at unheard of prices from 1 carat to 10 carats. Dazzling rare diamonds marked down to rock bottom. Don't miss this unprecedented event. The finest names, the highest quality, the guaranteed best values. It's Thursday through Sunday, September 18th through 21st. Come early for the best selection. Beards Diamonds at St. John's Town Center.
Here's a health and wellness tip from orthopedic specialists of Jacksonville.
Here's a simple tip for shoulder health to improve your posture. Slouching can put extra stress on your shoulders, leading to pain and injury. Make sure your head is over your shoulders are relaxed and pulled back, and your spine is properly aligned, whether you're sitting or standing. If you sit for long periods of time, make sure to get up and take breaks and work on pulling your shoulders back. Get up and get moving, Jacks, and go Jags.
Stay healthy with orthopedic specialists of Jacksonville.
Denny Thompson here. Look, don't get left in the dark. We're all trying to reason with hurricane season, so at least be prepared. For top-of-the-line generators in Jacksonville, I turn to Tyson. Licensed pros at Tyson deliver reliable, whole-home standby generators and provide fast repair service. They even do custom installations for local businesses, so don't wait. Ensure seamless installation and peace of mind. Call Tyson now, 904-762-1000 for a free estimate on generator services. TysonInc.com.
Your home is your sanctuary where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
1010XL, presented by Farrah and Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farrah doesn't flinch. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Bengals, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. And 2 hours after the game goes final, we will have the fifth quarter for you with the coach, Gerald Ingram, myself, and, of course, the Pro Bowler, Leon Searcy. You hear Leon every day on XL Primetime, and we're lucky enough to have him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, how are you, bud?
Doing great, bro.
What an opening day victory, Leon. You and I have done many fifth quarters in the past that did not start out the way this past week's did. A dominating performance over Carolina. Definitely a good start to the 2025 campaign.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I know a lot of people, a lot of critics saying, it's a bad Carolina team. Listen, they are paid professionals. You go out there every Sunday. Those guys get paid to play, and we outshined them. It's at home where we're supposed to play well. I think we were physical on both sides of the ball. I was very impressed by the running game, the offensive line, the way they were blocking the tight ends. I think Brendan Strange had a hell of a game as far as blocking and catching the ball. ATN had an outstanding game, running for 143 yards. He made some plays at the line of scrimmage, running out the backfield, catching the ball. I mean, I just think on both sides of the ball, it was what we expected to see, something new, something different from the Liam Cohen and the new regime, and I was very, very happy with what I saw.
I've heard that narrative as well. Well, Carolina was a bad team. Well, maybe, but Carolina also had more wins last year than Jacksonville did. And Carolina's got a second-year coaching staff, or Liam Cohen and his staff were making their debut with the Jaguars. And so, yeah, I thought it was a great performance all the way around. Let's talk about your bread and butter, the offensive line, 200 yards rushing. And not only that, Leon, but Trevor Lawrence did not get sacked, and he was only pressured on about 15% of his dropbacks on Sunday. So the run blocking, the pass blocking, one of the best performances I can remember in a long time from a Jaguar offensive line.
Oh, yes, Zach, absolutely. I mean, listen, that Jaguar offensive line has done things in this first game that I haven't seen in probably about 2 years, probably like 20 2022. I mean, they got after it real good. They got real physical with the guys up front in Carolina. I mean, I'm talking about from tackle to tackle. Everybody played a role and being physical. And I mean, I saw people moving. I saw defensive linemen getting washed down in piles. I saw guys getting to the second level. I saw guys down blocking guys to the ground, pulling, trapping. It was a beautiful thing, Hack. I swear I may have shed a tear. I mean, I got real emotional, man, because I love good offensive line play. I love when you play the game the way it's supposed to be played. You play it physical. You play it fast. You play it furious. And that's what this team did. And then the pass protected. They gave Trevor opportunities to step up in the pocket. He wasn't pressured that often. They gave us a 4-man front and rushed it, and they didn't get to the quarterback. You know, they I guess they were reliant on their back end to kind of cover some of the stuff that we want to do schematically, offensively with our receivers. And Trevor had time. You know, Trevor had time to throw the ball, man. And then, you know what, Hack, the thing is, now that I've seen them do it, I expect to see that every week now. Mm-hmm. You can't show me that you can do that week one, and then I don't see it for the rest of the season. So they've set the bar extremely high. So I'm gonna be looking for that kind of effort, that kind of tenacity, that kind of toughness and meanness each and every week I see Jaguar football.
Leon Searcy was a Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You hear him every day on XL Primetime. You also get him weekly during the season here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, defensively, they had 3 takeaways on Sunday. That's 33% of the total takeaways they had in the entirety of 2024, where they only got 9. And I'll tell you this, too. You know, we always talk about bringing in young guys. Well, yeah, I agree with that to an extent. But you also need to bring in some veterans. And this Jaguar team brought in Eric Murray and Jordan Lewis and DeJuan Smoot and Austin Johnson. And they had guys like Foye and Andrew Wingard and all the veteran players on defense, man, all made a big, big impact on Sunday.
And all those guys that you just mentioned, they all made a play. They all respectfully made an impact in the game. And that's what you need. You need that veteran prowess, not only in games, but in locker rooms, because, you know, those guys that you mentioned, at some particular point in their careers, they've had success. And then what you do is that you mentor the younger guys on what it's going to take to survive in this league. I've always said, I've always been a proponent of having older guys in the locker room because you need that mentorship. Hell, when I was with Pittsburgh, I was mentored by Tunch Ilkin. He taught me how to be a professional, how to go about my business of being a professional football player. You know, so I mean, I love it. I love the fact that these veterans showed up and showed out Sunday. And, yeah, I was excited about our defense. I mean, you listen, we only got 1 sack. Smoot had the 1 sack, but it was on numerous times where they made Bryce Young feel uncomfortable. All with corner blitz, with twists, with games, with stunts, all that kind of stuff. So that's what it's all about. And, Hack, you know, another exciting part about the game was that, man, it felt good to have a lead. Mm-hmm. I mean, how long has it been since we've been at home where we've had a lead? Every time last year or the year before that, we always start from behind. We're always having to play catch up. You get more out of your team, especially on the defensive side of the ball, when your offense puts up points and you have a lead.
Leon, I want to preview the Cincinnati game with you in a moment, but quickly, the big news this week was the trade of Tank Bigsby to Philadelphia. Jacksonville gets a 5th rounder and a 6th rounder in next year's draft. The Jaguars now have 13 draft picks in the 2026 draft. What were your takeaways from the trading of Tank Bigsby?
Well, I think the Jaguar team had already made their decision on who they were more reliant on by the amount of touches ATN got compared to what Tank got. And I felt like if you're going to address 4 running backs, ultimately they're all auditioning. And I just think the Jaguars felt that with ATN, the success that he had in that game, or that Tank became expendable. And let me just say this. And I'm not saying this happened, but I'm only speculating. Maybe Tank wasn't happy with his touches. Mm-hmm. Maybe he said something after the game about his touches. Maybe he went to the coach. Maybe he went to his position coach and showed his frustration. And they gave him his walking papers. I mean, listen, we're as players, we're competitors. We always feel that if you put us in the game, we can make a difference. And I'm not saying that happened with Tank, but you know, if I'm only getting 3 touches in the game, what ATN had, I don't know how many ATN had, but if I'm only getting 3 touches in the game, I'll win, lose, or draw, ultimately I'm going to be frustrated.
And, of course, they like those 2 rookies behind Travis Etienne now with Bashell Tuten and with Quint Allen Jr., and their roles are certainly going to expand now that Tank Bigsby's gone.
What thing about this, Hack? I mean, Bashell Tuten is Tank with 4.3 speed.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I mean, they're the same guy, but one's faster. So I figured the Jaguars figured that, listen, and plus, you know, they have no loyalty to Tank. They didn't draft Tank. I mean, he's from the old regime. So, I mean, he becomes expendable. That's just the nature of the business, man. I like the kid. I think he ran with toughness last year. He still has some issues with fumbling the football. But, I mean, I think he goes up there to Philadelphia where he could he'd be a viable backup for Saquon Barkley and make a name for himself.
Final moments with Leon Searcy. Leon, you and I and Coach Gerald Ingram will have the 5th quarter, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Bengals go final this Sunday. It's the home opener for Cincinnati. And look, there's no doubt it's a tougher contest than what last week was. You got to figure out a way to stop Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. What's your thought on Cincinnati and Jacksonville this Sunday?
Well, I mean, you've got to stop those 3 guys. Or they're going to wreck the game, to be quite honest with you. But their Achilles heel, from what I saw at the game last week against Cleveland, is their offensive line. You've got to be able to expose their offensive line with stunts, blitzes. I mean, Trayvon Walker and Hines Allen have got to, and even Armstead, they've got to put relentless pressure on Joe Burrow. Relentless. I mean, the game last week where they played the Cleveland Browns, Joe Burrow threw for 71 yards, bro. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. So, I mean, that lets you know that their Achilles heel, as fantastic a player Joe Burrow is, and he has 2 dynamic wide receivers, none of that matters if he can't throw the ball. So it is encompassed upon us defensively to put relentless pressure on Joe Burrow and make him average. And then Walker Little, he's got Trey Henderson. He's got Henderson on he cannot disrupt our offense. Well, I mean, Walker Little has got to shut him down the whole ball game if we're going to have a shot offensively. So, yeah, man, listen, I said this and people looked at me like I was crazy. I said, listen, the Bengals have a history of starting slow. Over the last 2 seasons, they've started 0-2. They won that game against Cleveland because their field goal kicker sucks. So,
yeah.
So if we can go in there, and this is a business trip, they're in our way. You got to look at this team like the Cincinnati Bengals are in our way. Week in and week out. I don't glorify people in names. I mean, you know, people say Burrow and Chase and Higgins. No, man, they're in our way. This is the next opponent. It's about the business of ball, and when we hit in Cincinnati, it's all about beating the Bengals.
It's certainly a measuring stick game. If Jacksonville were to go up there and win, that will get a lot of attention nationally, no question about it. Leon, I know it's still early in the week, but where are you leaning? What do you think about Sunday? Who wins the game?
You know what? If and maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment. If the Jaguars play the way they played Sunday, they'll beat the Bengals.
I agree. If they play with it against Carolina, I completely agree. I think they'll beat Cincinnati.
I'm sure the Jaguars are going to win. 21-14.
And if that happens, oh, what a fifth quarter you and I and the coach Gerald Ingram will have. We'll have it 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Bengals go final this Sunday right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. The Pro Bowler Leon Searcy, you get him every day on prime time. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. And this Sunday, you'll have him on the fifth quarter. Leon, appreciate it, man. I'll see you Sunday evening.
All right, bro.
Our son Eric's a Division I collegiate baseball pitcher who is having shoulder pain. We took him to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and are confident that he's now on the road to recovery. This is Beth Anderson, and we love the care Eric receives at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Sports fans, this is David Garrard here. And if you're suffering from orthopedic soreness, make an appointment at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where everyone is treated like a pro.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, Jason, thanks for coming over so quick.
Sure thing, pal. What's the big... Whoa!
See, I told you there was a smell.
Yeah, it smells like...
Exactly, or a dead one more like it.
You need some fresh air in here.
Well, this is the problem, Jason. I've kept everything sealed up tight all summer long so I don't lose all my nice cool air. Now all the dog smells and cooking smells and home gymnasium man cave smells are all building up and I can barely...
Dude, where are the Bueller sunglasses I gave you?
Oh, I don't know. They must be in my other...
Put on my emergency pair.
Whoa.
Bueller Air and Plumbing can install an air purification add-on to your existing air conditioner. Clean the air of dust and pollen and funky smells while you cool.
So I can keep all the cool air I saved up?
And your place won't smell like a dead...
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by November 6th.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. That's right, Terminix it.
Here's what the car insurance companies may think they know after a car crash. They know you probably don't know what your claim is worth, or how to calculate pain and suffering, lost wages and future earnings, current and future medical expenses, or diminished value to your car. But guess what? We do. And if we don't win your case, you owe us nothing. For a fairer fight, you know who to call. Farah and Farah. Jacksonville.
Florida Gators football on 1010XL is driven by Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville, Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors, and the law firm of Farah and Farah. Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL.
On game day, you trust your team. On storm day, trust the people's roofer, Morgan Conley Roofing. Born here, built here, staying here. MorganConleyRoofing.org. License number CCC 1333544.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Bengals this Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. It'll be a measuring stick game for the Jaguars coming off that win last week over the Carolina Panthers. Let's talk Jags. Let's also look around the rest of the AFC South. One weekend to the NFL regular season. Easton Freeze, A2ZSports.com, does a terrific job covering the National Football League. He's based up in Nashville, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Easton, how you doing, man?
What's going on, Ryan?
It's a busy time of year. I know it is for you as well. Look, we'll get to the Titans. I want to talk about the Colts and the Texans as well. But there's some excitement, Easton, down here in Jacksonville after an impressive 26-10 victory over the Carolina Panthers. What were your takeaways from what Jacksonville did on opening day?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there should be some excitement. I know that Jacksonville was obviously favored in the game, but not favored to blow out, though. I guess it depends on your definition of a blowout. There at the end, it started to look like a blowout when the pick six got called back, and so the score looks a little bit closer than it otherwise would. It's funny, this game, the Titans were playing it in Denver in the late window, and so I thought that I'd get to sit and watch the entirety of this game in real time, but then the weather decided that I was going to have to go back and catch the end of it in post because the Titans had started by the time the Jaguars finished. Always fun to have a big fat weather delay on opening weekend. I thought that all things considered, not to take anything away from the Jaguars, I think the Jaguars, and this may just be because I have slightly higher than most expectations for the Jaguars this year. I thought that they looked about what I expected them to look like in week one under a new coach with a lot of new moving pieces. Despite the score, I think the score maybe was more a reflection of the Panthers just not being really all that ready. I was really unimpressed with what the Panthers did. And again, that's not to take anything away from the Jaguars, but I think that the score differential being so significant was more a reflection of the Panthers, whereas the praise for the Jaguars belongs to the fact that this was a first game for a new head coach and for a lot of new moving pieces, and they thoroughly handled their business. I thought that the defense was opportunistic, obviously, and there are, some things to clean up there, especially when they're playing a more put-together offense in the near future. But for the most part, I didn't really have a whole lot of problems with the way that the defense handled themselves. And the offense is really what I am focusing on all year, just because I am somebody that believes in Trevor Lawrence. And I really, really, really like the trio of Trevor and BTJ and Travis Hunter. And so, Travis is the other headline, of course, the fact that he played both sides of the ball. It's significant enough to call it a full game's worth. You'll probably know the total snap count for him off the top of your head better than I do. But seeing him get to play in both roles, and I really like the way that in this game, now I know that the coaching staff is planning on changing his utilization on offense and defense, game plan to game plan. But in this one, the way that they essentially had him play as a full-time receiver, which I think is where he's probably more valuable to the team. But on defense, essentially go in on obvious passing downs and play center fielder a little bit and just be an athlete out there the way that he can track the ball on offense so well, go do it on the defensive side of the ball. I kind of think that's going to be the base setup for him in Jacksonville. I think that's going to be their most common way of approaching games with him. And I think it's effective. Did he light the world on fire on either side of the ball? No, but did he look like he was getting tired or that he was lost and knowing what his assignments were? Did he make the most out of when he got the ball? Absolutely he did. He looked like one of the, most unique players in the NFL, which I believe he is.
Easton Freeze of A2ZSports.com. Yeah, they only used him, I believe, 45 snaps, but they didn't need to use him any more than that because the game wasn't really in question in the third and fourth quarter. So you saved some snaps there on Travis Hunter. And look, we've talked, Easton, a lot about Hunter and BTJ and Trevor Lawrence. To me, the story was Travis Etienne in that running game. $143 for Etienne. And look, they've now traded Tank Bigsby to Philadelphia. The Jaguars have 13 draft picks now in the 2026 draft, which is pretty wild. So it's obvious it's Etienne's game as the running back, and they have to like those two rookies, Tuten and LaQuint Allen Jr. as well, a big part of why Tank Bigsby was traded.
Yeah, that's a fair point. The way that Liam Cohen revolutionized the Buccaneers run game last year, it's not I don't think it's surprising to anybody that out of the gates, Jacksonville's you can correct me if you think I'm wrong on this. The run game was kind of broken during the Peterson era, and the way that it immediately has come to life, at least in this first game with Liam Cohen after he did this with Bucky Irving, obviously, down there in Tampa Bay, most notably. I think that it's going to be a career year potentially for Etienne, especially if now that they have traded and thinned out that running back room to now essentially just because who's the third guy? It's Etienne and it's the rookie, and then who else?
Yeah, it's the two rookies, Bashell Tuten from Va-Tech, LaQuint Allen Jr., the rookie from Syracuse.
LaQuint Allen, that's right. I forgot that's who they drafted late. Or did they undrafted? I forget.
He was a seventh rounder, yeah.
Okay. he and no disrespect for Quinn Allen, not expecting him to be, a big impact this year. But Bashell Tuten is somebody that the fantasy community at least has talked so much about. And I am curious now that the path to him getting meaningful touches is thinner now that he, naturally gets bumped up a position in that room. How much of a committee it's going to be in that room versus just going with the former first round, the former top pick ETN, who, I think a lot of people had maybe tossed by the wayside early on in his career as somebody that's just going to be a rookie contract guy, and then he'll probably float around the NFL and be relatively uninspiring. If there were ever a chance for him to revolutionize his career, maybe stick around as a Jaguar, it sounds like Liam Cohen's offensive scheme is the way to do it, and so far so good.
Yeah, Travis Etienne still only 26 years old, probably has some good years left in him. We'll see what happens down the road. All right, Easton, let's look around the division. I was watching the Tennessee game from afar. I was doing the Jaguar post game as the Titans were finishing up. I thought on the surface Tennessee fans would be happy with a competitive game out in Denver. And
You would think that, wouldn't you?
And I've seen so much reaction. They are killing Brian Callahan up there.
It's bad, man. It's bad. You're right. It is. I have thought about the irony of the situation ever since I left Denver on Sunday. You're 100% right. This was a game that pretty much everybody, Titans fans included, went into. It was supposed to be the most lopsided game of the entire week one slate, right? It was tied for the largest spread in Vegas. It was in every survivor pool in the nation. The Denver Broncos were the number one most chosen survivor pick. Everyone in the world was certain that they'd win the game and thought that they'd probably win pretty handily because it was a uniquely terrible spot the NFL put the Titans in for Cam Ward's debut, right? A rookie quarterback, first NFL game on the road at elevation against probably the best defense in the league in the Denver Broncos. What could go wrong? Well, in a twist of irony, Cam looked really good and everything else looked quite bad, which that's another thing you'd think, well, Titans fans, oh goodness, last year, what would they have done? What unspeakable horrors would they have committed to, in a loss, feel at least really, really good about the quarterback play, right? That's where we're at right now, and yet people are mostly furious. The temperature it's coming down as it does as you distance yourself from Sunday and Monday. But people are really mad at the way that the game was coached in particular. Now, I have kind of been banging the drum that I think that lets the players off the hook a little bit, because I watched the second half of that game, and particularly on offense, the way that they could not move the ball, that the Broncos put them in hell, and statistically that is borne out. I think in hindsight, this game is going to look more reasonable 1 or 2 months down the road, because I think once they've played 10 or 12 or 14 games, we're going to realize that this Broncos defense is going to do to a lot of teams what they did to the Tennessee Titans, good and bad teams alike. But that's not to say that the Titans are secretly good and it's just the Denver Broncos defense. I think the Titans offense was bad on top of playing a really good defense. But the point remains that they're going to do that to a lot of teams, going to make them one-dimensional, going to be opportunistic. And I don't even think they played their best game against the Titans in particular. I just think they still managed to smother them in that way. But the coaching, I think that, in my opinion, I've always been higher on Brian Callahan than most people. I think that it was objectively his worst coaching performance of the 18 games he's now coached for the Tennessee Titans. But I also think it's not nearly as bad a coaching performance as fans are making it out to be. Not to get too much into the weeds and the palace intrigue and the conspiracy theories and whatnot and what I know and don't know, because your audience certainly does not care. But there were two inflection point moments in the game that people have really latched on to as thinking Brian Callahan is incompetent and can't do his job. And it's only natural that when you take a top overall quarterback, the blame meter on the coaching staff, this happens to every single coaching staff that has ever taken a top quarterback, the blame meter gets turned up to a zillion. And out of the gate, a really unfortunate game one for Brian Callahan has turned all the guns on him. And so, I think, as is the case in every aspect of National Football League, winning cures everything. So if they just start winning some games, that heat will come off. But they don't have a super easy schedule coming up. The Los Angeles Rams this weekend. So we'll see how that goes. And at the very least, Brian Callahan's going to need to acquit himself with the way that he calls that game.
Final moments, Easton Freeze, A to Z Sports.com. Easton, we got about 2 minutes. Let's get a quick thought on both the Colts and the Texans. The Colts destroyed what appears to be a pretty bad Miami team. And Houston, I was telling people all offseason, you and I talked about it. I love their defense. I don't like their offense. And that came to fruition last Sunday.
Yeah, the Houston notes are pretty simple. I think you nailed it. I think they played a really difficult team in the Rams, playoff caliber team. Houston was in that game, had their chances, weren't able to capitalize, still have a zillion questions about the offensive line situation. I know that they're down some guys in terms of skilled players, and so it is what it is. I think they'll be a tough out, and they'll be fine. I'm not panicking on the Texans at all, but not their best performance against the team that the Titans are about to have to face. So it's nice to kind of have a 1-2 comparison for the Titans and the Texans right here at the beginning of the season. The Colts are perhaps the only team in the league that I think got a better draw in terms of opponent being unprepared than the Jaguars. I thought that the Panthers looked pretty unprepared against the Jaguars, who played well. And I think that the Dolphins looked entirely unprepared against the Colts, who also definitely played well. And so it was super lopsided. That was definitely a blowout. The Daniel Jones of it all. Am I going to remain skeptical? Am I going to, with my betting accounts, be fading the Colts this week? Absolutely I am. I'm going to force them to, show me that another or maybe a couple more times before I really buy into this working. But I think the general gist of, hey, this is Shane Steichen's offense as it's designed to be played, and there hasn't been a whole lot of weeks in the Shane Steichen era where the offense has actually been played the way it's designed to be played, because it requires like bare minimum competency at quarterback. I think that's a fair point to make. And Daniel Jones had himself a good game, and so the thing really worked, and the Dolphins looked really, really, really maybe worst team in the league bad. So good for the Colts.
Easton, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, A to Z Sports.com, and the coverage you'll have as we head into week number 2.
That's right, A to Z Sports.com. Check me out there, writing about the Titans and around the league. And then A to Z Sports on YouTube. You can check out that YouTube channel, and I am doing videos and live streams all the time. We'll be live there talking about the Titans later tonight.
Easton Freeze, A to Z Sports.com. Easton, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Anytime, Ryan.
And thank you to Easton Freeze, A to Z Sports.com, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. As you look at the Jaguars and the rest of the AFC South after 1 week of the NFL season. The Jaguars 1-0, the Colts 1-0, both the Titans and the Texans 0-1, and all four have tough battles this week. Of course, Jacksonville going to Cincinnati. Houston has Tampa on Monday Night Football. The Titans and the Rams and the Broncos and the Colts. So we will see how the AFC South looks following week 2 action. So we spent a lot of time on that, a lot of time on the Jaguars certainly as well. Was down in the locker room earlier today as the Jaguars begin preparations for the Cincinnati Bengals up in Cincinnati. That's a 1 o'clock kick on Sunday, a game you will hear right here on 1010XL. Again, like I said last week, I don't know if Jacksonville is going to win the game, but there is a confidence in that locker room, and you could tell there's a confidence, and why shouldn't there be? I mean, they absolutely destroyed the Carolina Panthers on opening day. Obviously a much tougher test on Sunday up on the road in Cincinnati against Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and the Bengals. But, look, is it crazy to think Jacksonville can go there and win? No. Am I going to pick them to win? I'm not sure. Tune in tomorrow. But I don't think it would be crazy or outlandish to think Jacksonville could go up to Cincinnati and win a football game on Sunday afternoon. Well, that will just about do it, man. Very, very busy Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Easton Freeze, A to Z Sports.com, talking Jaguars and the rest of the AFC South. Thank you to Kurt Weiler of Tomahawk Nation, talking a little Florida State. All of a sudden, a top 10 team. Seminoles have a bye week this week, but a good 2-0 start in that big win over Alabama. We thank Kurt for joining us tonight. Former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. Stop by. You hear him every day on Prime Time. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. and my buddy Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, in hour number 1. Always appreciate talking ball with Brian. And we were inside the Jaguar locker room, brought you one-on-one conversations with rookie running back Bashell Tuten and safety Andrew Dewey Wingard. And we appreciate both Dewey and Bashell for joining us here on Hacker After Dark. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Thursday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with us.